Hi, welcome to this video. I'm Mark Adams, post-production specialist. I'm just going to make a little video today. I'm going to show you a little short exercise to create a correct Adobe Premiere Pro sequence setup for your project. Here we go. Let's jump into Premiere. So we have a few projects here. Let's go to new project, and we'll call this setup. I don't need to change the location just now. I'm quite happy with that. Click OK. And here's our project. Now, this is clean. There's nothing in it. There's no media. But let's look at a sequence and how to correctly set up a sequence for yourself and your production. Click inside the project. So the blue pane is lit all the way around. We go to File, New, and New Sequence. And the Sequence panel will pop up. And of course, within here, we've got loads of different options. We've got ARRI, AVC Intra, all the way through to some standard definition codecs here, formats, HDV, bizarrely, still going, is that? And we've got red, XD Cam EX, HD 422. Try to avoid these. Okay, so what we want to do is I want to create two sequences. One, I want to be 1920 by 1080 progressive 25, and the other I want to be 1920 by 1080 I-25. So one progressive, one interlaced. At the moment, I'm just using the HD format, but you'll see there are different options to create a UHD sequence if you so wished, or another size sequence. So we jump over into settings. So if we're starting from scratch, we're in settings. The first thing I want to do is jump to custom. Okay. My time base is going to be 25 frames per second. If you're watching this video in the States or other places around Europe, please do be aware that you'll need to make sure that your time base is correct to your region. Okay, very important. Video frame size. Well, we spoke about this to me at the beginning. I wanted it to be 1920 and I want it to be 1080. Okay. Square pixels, really important. HDs and square pixels. This is where we choose either interlaced or progressive. So let's keep it progressive, but you can see there are other options, and we'll talk about this in a moment. But this is going to be a progressive scan sequence. As I go down, we have 48,000 hertz, which is fine. Video previews, of course, there are different options here. Now, if you didn't have the QuickTime options, you could choose iframe only MPEG. This would be good enough for your high-res HD sequence. You'll be fine. It's an intra-frame codec, which means all the information of that frame is in that one frame. Okay, so that would be good if you didn't have this QuickTime option. Of course, you can download. You can have the QuickTime option and download the, for example, the ProRes family presets too. I'm going to choose QuickTime. I need to change the codec. Animation is huge, so I'm just going to choose ProRes 422. Okay, so we have our time base, we have our frame size, we have a progressive scan, we have a format or a wrapper, and we've got a codec. Great. Let's jump over into tracks. And you'll see in tracks, it gives you various options. Now, the one thing I like to do is keep things mono. Let's delete all this. Delete all this. And we'll start from fresh. Okay. Generally, when you go into this section, it should be in stereo. You can, of course, have stereo channels. Stereo channels I find incredibly frustrating, even from an offline perspective. I like to have individual mono channels panned left and right. So it also helps with the pushing an AF through to Pro Tools. So the way I would advise you to do this is to choose a multi-channel sequence, and then let's just have at the moment 4 channels of audio. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see the channels have come through mono, which is fine, mono being one singular channel. But we need to change the pan. So let's change audio 1 goes left, audio 2 goes right, 3 goes left, 4 goes right. So we're checkerboarding. So this is the way. So we're almost tricking Premiere here to think these two are actually stereo. So you could place music on 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, and it will play it out stereo. Okay, it would be allocated to the correct speaker. So, and you can continue that all the way down. So if you're offline and you've got 30 channels, then do the same thing, but make sure you pan left and right all the way down. So once you've done that and you're happy with it, you can choose a sequence name, of course. We're going to save the preset, and I'm going to call this HD underscore 1080 P underscore 25, and I'll just call this Mark today. Okay, I'm happy with that. We can add a description too. Click OK, and what will happen is Premiere will populate this presets panel, and inside custom at the bottom you'll see, there you go, there's my sequence. You see I've got other versions there too, but that's that particular one there, and it will just give you an inspector layout of what's going on, which is good. Great. So let's click OK, and that sequence of course popped in. That's a progressive one. Of course, never leave your sequence 01. Make sure you call it what it is. We've got, in relation to your project. But we'll just call this for now progressive. Let's create the interlaced version of that. So very, very similar. File, new sequence, and here we go. Jump over into settings. All of these are the same. Custom 25, 1920 by 1080 square pixels. Here's the change. Instead of going no fields, we choose upper field first. Don't go lower field first. That would be traditionally from an SD perspective. So upper field HD first is what we want. We want the first field to be the upper field of the two fields. Okay, click on that. And everything else should be the same. QuickTime, ProRes 42, jump over into tracks. We've got 4 channels. Well, let's say actually I want 2 more. 1, 2. I'm just going to pan audio 5 to the left. Let's put another 2 in actually. And audio 7 to the left. So here we go, checkerboarded. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Like we're marching. Good. Now, save that preset. And we're going to call it HD underscore. We're going to call it 1080 underscore. We're going to call it interlaced underscore 25. And we're going to call it Mark. Okay. Click OK. And again, that's going to populate that into the presets list. Scroll that down. And done. There it is. Click OK. And that sequence will be generated. Interlaced. Great. There we go. You're ready to start your project, depending on whether it's interlaced or progressive. Do check your source media. If your source media is progressive, keep your sequence progressive. If your source media is interlaced, keep your sequence interlaced. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Have fun editing.